Hello and welcome to our podcast. This is sponsored by Treatment Plant Operator Magazine. My name is Ted Rulseh. I'm the editor of TPO, and today we'll be talking to Ron Trygar, who's a certified environmental trainer at the University of Florida's TREEO Center. Ron is going to talk to us today about training in water and wastewater, why it's important, and why you might want to consider being a wastewater and water trainer. So Ron, why is it important? Why is water and wastewater training so important today?
Great question, and thank you for allowing me to be here today and talk with the listeners and give you some input on training and what it's like to be a trainer. It's so important to have water and wastewater treatment plant operator trainers out there, because think about what we do and what we provide. We provide safe drinking water to millions of people in the United States from the water treatment plant all the way through the distribution systems, and safely get it to their taps. So we really need trainers to help operators learn and comprehend the chemistry and the flow and how to maintain the equipment and all of that, so we can keep providing safe drinking water at adequate pressures to help for firefighting and keep the hospitals running like we have, and so important right now. And then conversely, on the opposite side of the pipe, if you will, we need wastewater treatment plant operators and collection system operators to be able to get that sewage or used water now and turn that used water, which is wastewater or sewage, into a usable product, which is, again, reclaimed water. That's safe to discharge into the environment, or safe to use for reclaimed water, and then extract the biosolids and use those as a beneficial product. So the trainers that we have helping our operators learn this industry are so vital to making sure that these concepts get absorbed by the folks that we're relying on to do this for us. So I really do believe that trainers make or break the operators' careers in some cases, because it's just, if you get involved in the industry and you find somebody that helps you and you become interested in water or wastewater treatment, that trainer could really be the person that makes you really enthusiastic about it and really want to become higher level certifications or whatever it is. So I think trainers are vital, crucial to this industry.
Ron, what does it take to be an effective trainer of water and wastewater operators?
In my opinion, to be an effective trainer, as we are in this industry, very hands-on type of people. Our learners are usually adult learners. They have graduated high school or near finishing high school, and maybe they have some college, maybe not, but most of the folks that we have in our industry are maybe similar as me, where they didn't go to college per se. They kind of went right into the working industry. So to become an effective trainer of these students and attendees of our classes, we need to kind of be able to speak to them properly, be able to understand where they came from, their backgrounds, and also be able to use a lot of maybe hands-on type of training. Make sure that the training is fun in a way. It's a little bit of entertainment, I would say, to keep people engaged, but you're also trying to make sure you get your concepts across in a way that they can comprehend and that they can absorb and take away with them from the classroom and use it in the field. So in my opinion, it doesn't really make sense to just preach to somebody through a book and say, you have to know this and you have to know that, and I hope you get it from reading this book. But we want to be able to stand in front of this audience and say, man, this is an awesome industry, and look what we can do, and now you can do this. Now here's a microscope, or here's a pump, or here's a piece of equipment, a valve that you can take apart and repair yourself. So an effective trainer in this industry industry today really needs to employ hands-on materials or exercises that people can really get into and see and touch and feel and be able to see the effects of it. I think that's really important for trainers today, and even in the past with this industry. We're very visual learners, very hands-on, tactile learners as the adult learners that we are. So I think that's a key ingredient.
So why would someone who's let's say, a really high quality operator, why would that person want to consider becoming a trainer? What would be in it for them?
Well, one of the things I can say as a trainer myself is we don't make millions of dollars in this industry. We are the nuts and bolts people that are making the society work. So what we get out of it, I think, is more of the feeling of accomplishment and helping somebody do something well and advance their careers, or the feeling that we get that we've passed along some kind of knowledge that other people can pass on and keep using and making safe drinking water and valuable high quality effluent water from a wastewater plant. That's kind of what's in it for us. We have to kind of keep this thing going. And the feeling that I get when an operator says that they've taken their exam and they passed their exam and they had trouble before, and now they learned from us here at TREEO Center how to a process works, or be able to work a math calculation, and then they see that same thing on an exam and they say, man, I passed, and thank you so much. I'm going to be able to apply for my next level raise or bonus or a promotion at my facility. I mean, that's such a great feeling that we can help others do. And I think, again, the passing it along or passing it forward, however you want to word it, is really what's in it for us. I mean, like I said, it's not the biggest bang for the buck as far as the money goes, but I don't think a lot of us are really in it for the money. I can attest to that it's really about the heart and your heart and helping people out. So now, as far as other things that can go forward, you could say that the better off that you make another person in your treatment plant, the easier it is to run that facility. If everybody is working together and they're all highly trained and highly skilled, and you've passed along skills that you've been able to learn, then your job actually gets easier. So what's in it for a trainer is, I can say that if I can make somebody's job easier and it helps them do their job, then it also helps me do the job. And as a manager, I found that to be so true in my career, that if I could help people do something better and easier, then man, it just made everything just go so much smoother. So there's a couple of, I would say, kind of hidden benefits, but again, it's just all about passing it forward and making sure that people have what they need and the feeling of accomplishment that we get from that. So I guess that's probably the best, longest, short answer I could give you.
Great answer. So you hold a certified environmental trainer designation. Can you, for short, that's called CET. Can you explain how that helps a trainer in their career, and who gives that certification, and what does it include?
Okay, I'll start with the latter part of the question first. The CET program right now is administered through an organization called BCSP. That's B as in boy, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam, and P as in Paul. So BCSP is the Board of Certified Safety Professionals, and they have incorporated the CET program into their repertoire of certified certifications. Rather, there's certified hazardous materials managers, there's certified safety professionals, there's lots of designations through BCSP. And what that does for us as trainers, if you kind of think about a little bit what I said earlier about maybe not going through college and becoming a PhD or getting a degree, I would say that the CET program for me has almost become my trainer PhD, if you will. It shows that I have achieved certain level of credentials through a recognized nationwide organization. It is an organization that holds us to some high standards, and we have to pass exams, and we also have to get continuing education units, as well as provide quality training throughout the year. But we also have to be trained by other trainers to learn new techniques and new things, new technologies that are out there to keep our training fresh. And we have to get certain CEUs, like many operators do for our water and wastewater licenses. But I also have to get those to maintain my CET designation. So where that has helped me in the past is when I was providing training, like here at TREEO Center, when they decided to hire me on or extend an opportunity for me. One of the things that I had to achieve was the CET level within, I think, 6 months they gave me, and they would only really hire on as faculty somebody that had the CET designation. Even if I had a PhD in environmental engineering, they still wanted me to be a CET. So that has really helped me, learn about training adult learners, which we are in this industry. There's certain techniques and things that we must follow to really get our messages across to people that are, that are working out in the field. And the CET program really kind of helps us learn how to train the adult learners and be able to get our messages through to them the best way possible. And that has really helped me, and I'm really proud to maintain the CET designation. I received that in 1998 through my mentors here at the TREEO Center, who also helped me out, and it's been just a great program. I've supported it ever since. Just so your listeners know that there is also another organization called the International Association of Certified Environmental Trainers, or IACET, and they can find that through iacet.org. And that is also a worldwide certification program. So there's also that avenue they can go into. I have not personally followed that path. I've stayed kind of here nationwide, but if I was to travel, say, to Saudi Arabia or Turkey or Panama or someplace around the world to provide training in the environmental field, the IACET would be very beneficial too. So anyway, it's kind of a credential that has really helped us show that we've achieved some level of status and abilities to be trainers.
So water and wastewater training have changed over the last 20 or so years, leaving aside the impact of the coronavirus, which we'll touch on later. How has training changed?
I love this question. I'm so glad you asked me this question. Just a quick synopsis. When I started in the field in 1983, so it's going way back, we did not have projectors and PowerPoint and all the fancy stuff. We had overhead flip charts, and either the transparencies were already made with little drawings on them from a printer, which was a Xerox machine, by the way, or the trainer would have blank transparencies, just clear acetates, and we would basically just draw and write on those on the overhead projector. We also had slideshows and slide carousels that we would put in and show slides of photos of plants and things like that, treatment plants and all. So to kind of go back to how much it's changed in the last 20 or so years is just phenomenal. I have not seen the overhead projector here at TREEO in probably 15 years. I know where it's at, but I haven't physically laid eyes on it. But we still have it because you just never know. But we've progressed into using, obviously the computers and PowerPoint as a presentation software, and projectors that are so bright now that you could show them outside on a screen and still be able to see them, and all of the technology that goes with it. We have YouTube videos and all kinds of other videos that are out there that people like myself and other trainers have posted on websites like Vimeo and YouTube and things like that. So we have really progressed, just tremendously over the last 10, 20 years. And we can now go out and shoot videos like myself. I got a GoPro camera. I can put that GoPro camera into a clarifier and drop it down on a sludge judge and actually see the top of the sludge blanket. And then I can put that into a classroom setting and show the students what pin flock looks like, or straggler flock, or whatever. So we have been able to really use technology to some great degrees lately. There's drones now that we could use for inspections of facilities. Of course, doing that legally over a water wastewater plant, of course. But GoPro cameras and YouTube, but just all the different video platforms that are out there. It's been phenomenal, and I'm really happy. Again, as a trainer, I like embracing some of the new technology and bringing that into the classroom, so that it's not just the same old thing all the time. I don't want to just lecture to people. I want to show them. And if I can't take them out in a treatment plant to show them the actual unit itself in a lime softening plant, or a surface water treatment plant, or a wastewater plant, I'll go out and shoot videos with my GoPro camera or just a still camera, and just bring that into the classroom and say, hey, here it is, let me show you this. And that has been really helpful. So it's changed so much over the years. I know since I've got into the industry, and it's really all about getting the message across to the learners, and using whatever method we can use to get that information out there and let them see it. Again, people are visual learners. We really do like the videos and things like that to help them learn. So like you said, short of what's happening now with the coronavirus, that's kind of a quick synopsis of where I think it's really changed a lot over the years, at least what I've seen, in the time I've been in it.
Ron, if I'm a good operator and I wanted to become a trainer, where would I begin?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that, and I hope that the listeners are also maybe intrigued on this as well. One of the things I'm finding is that we're becoming very short-handed on the amount of qualified trainers in the industry. We seem to be relying on the same core of people within certain organizations to do the training. And a lot of operators have people that they find their loyalties towards, and they want to get training from those people. But as we get older, and a lot of folks start to retire, or can't make the classes because of travel restrictions and things like that, I'm finding that we're really becoming shorthanded on the amount of available qualified trainers. So what I would suggest that the listener do is they could either contact me directly and ask me for directions, through the different state organizations here in Florida, if it is Florida, or through the TPO website. I'm sure that everything that they need is found there too, to get into the different states. Around the U.S., but contact the organizations. The first thing to do is contact the organizations in your area, like the operators associations, the rural water associations, or the American Water Works chapters, that give training around the area. Contact those people and find out what you can do to help them out. I'm sure that they would need somebody to do some kind of class at some point. So if you're willing to get in front of an audience of people that you don't know and talk about something that you love, which is either water, wastewater, distribution systems, collection systems, whatever that is, if you can get in front of those people and talk about something you love, then man, people will love to hear you talk about it. So the best thing to do is contact the individual area organizations that are out there. Again, I can help if somebody would need that assistance, but go that direction, and don't be afraid. There is training out there. We offer here at TREEO Center something known as Train the Trainer, and a listener could basically just type Train the Trainer for wastewater or water industry into a search engine and probably come up with different state or organizations that provide it. We have one here at TREEO Center, and it really is aimed at getting your messages across to adult learners. The Train the Trainer course that we have is not about water or wastewater treatment. It's all about just getting in front of the audience and talking about something you you love to do, which many of us are very behind the scenes people. We're not very, maybe not real flashy. Maybe we're a little bit nervous about being in front of people. But if you start talking to them about a pump or some safety issues or something like that, about, or say, ask me about my treatment plant, and I'll just talk to you all day long about this stuff. I don't care who's around. So if that sounds like you, or if the listeners, if that sounds like you, man, get out there and start doing it and get trained, and just, you have to have the willingness first, I think, is the first thing. The willingness to stand in front of people that you don't know, and maybe have somebody question you, and then you learn and research and go from there. But it's really very, very rewarding career, and I'm so glad that I followed this path.
You indicated, Ron, that there's a need for more water and wastewater trainers. Where do you see the gaps as being? In the beginning, the more rudimentary training, or in the more advanced training, or is it pretty much across the board?
Yeah, I kind of think it's across the board, Ted. I really kind of think that we need folks that are willing to help the people get into this industry. There's a lot of folks looking at us right now saying, man, this water treatment industry or wastewater industry is really secure. All of the people I know still have their jobs. And so I think that getting trainers willing to talk to some folks that are new, that have a lot of questions when they start in this industry, is the key starting point. But then we also need trainers that are able to talk to advanced level operators about advanced level topics, and that might be advanced level mathematics that would be used on higher level tests or exams. We would also need folks to train operators on reclaimed water and the processes used for high level disinfection and high advanced oxidation processes that might be used for reclaimed water turning into potable drinking water. We need trainers that are able to talk to people about SCADA systems and the computer software that runs the facilities now. And I&C technicians, or instrumentation and control technicians, that are able to talk to people about what a PLC is and how it sends a signal to the motor or the pump. And we need those types of trainers. So there's definitely a need across the board for all levels. And we're finding it tough here in Florida to find people to fill those roles. And it's becoming even tougher as time goes on. A lot of the people that I know are, like I said, they're retiring and saying, man, I'm done training and I don't want to be an operator anymore. I just want to go enjoy life. So, we need folks to kind of fill in, and it could be somebody, that has just a few years of training, or rather experience under their belt, and a willingness to learn and be mentored. And I think that would be a great fit. And we have a lot of young people in the industry, so we need folks that can, speak the language, so to speak. So,
All right. In terms of training delivery, we hear a lot these days about Zoom and Teams types of online training, and especially in this time of coronavirus. Can you tell us about those kinds of training and the role that they play? What are their advantages?
So the advantages that I've seen so far of the distance learning or virtual learning, if you will, with Zoom or Teams or WebEx, or WebEx, I think it's called, and GoToMeeting, those types of platforms. The main benefit that I'm seeing is that right now the student does not have to interact with other people in the closed classrooms, and we're always trying to maintain the distance between each student. Right now at UF, we have a mandate to be 8 feet apart, so all of our seating is very spread out in the rooms, and we have a limited amount of seating now. So how we're able to still get our word out there and our training out there is doing live streaming. And so we're using platforms like Zoom and Teams and WebEx to reach the students in their locations. Now the student then does not have to travel. The utility doesn't have the lodging expenses and the travel expenses and all that like they would if they were coming to Gainesville for a class. So there's the meals and all that that are not having to be paid for, and the travel expenses, but also they're not having to interact, with other students or people that maybe at the hotels and all that, and all of that when they're traveling. So the benefit really has been so far those main things. And how we're able to do that here is by using, we have some live streaming cameras or video cameras that can do live streaming. So they're not the webcams that are used on, say, a laptop for a Zoom meeting. They're actual, like you would see maybe in a church function or some kind of social community center function, where a speaker is talking into generally a high-end video camera, and we can move that camera to certain locations so that the trainer can be using the whiteboard if they're going to like dry erase board markers and do a math calculation, or we can have a piece of equipment set on the floor and the trainer can point to that, and then the camera can zoom in, using presets that we have for the cameras. So then we incorporate that into the live stream functions of Zoom and all that. So what we have now is essentially hybrid courses where we have the students sitting at their computer, using a chat box to maybe, ask us questions. And then we have a coordinator that takes and fields those questions for us and asks us, how to, what the question is, and that type of thing. We could also house some people here in the classroom. We do allow some folks to come in, and they have to wear masks the whole time that they're here. And we do take breaks frequently so people can get up, move around, and go outside and kind of distance and stretch out a little bit and take the mask off and get some fresh air. But right now we're trying to do classes like that are more of the hybrid, I guess, a little bit of everything in there, so that we can still get the training out there. The operators still need to pass their exams. The operators still need to get continuing education units for their licenses, to maintain these licenses. And we're going to be coming up to April 2021 pretty soon, which here in Florida is our deadline to get our CEUs for licenses. So we have to still keep this going, and using those types of platforms has been very, very helpful. I will tell you that, again, I'm a little bit of an old school person, so I'm having to learn all of this just as a lot of people are. I've never used Zoom so much in my whole life, and I didn't even know what it was about 4 or 5 months ago. So and now I'm getting used to Teams and WebEx and all that, because some utilities want us to use that, to get into their network and have their operators attend a class through certain platforms. So it has really changed the whole learning scenario. We also do a lot of backflow and cross-connection control courses here at TREEO Center, where people have to maintain their certifications by physically being in front of a proctor and showing competency testing backflow prevention devices. So how we're handling that is having the hybrid course where the person does the refresher, say online or through the video live streaming, and then they set an appointment to come here and be the one-on-one timing with the proctor that would actually physically watch them, check the backflow preventers and the cross connection controlled devices, make sure that they can actually do that to maintain their certification. So that's been that's been something new for us too.
So you've talked about the advantages of Zoom and Teams training and similar online programs. What is it that gets lost maybe if the operators don't have a chance to physically be in a classroom and in a room together?
I can quickly answer this and say most everybody has told me the ability to network with other operators. There's just something about sitting in a classroom, and when we do our introductions and we have 10, 15, 20 people in the classroom, invariably in just about every class, there will be one person that worked at a utility that somebody else works at now, or they'll hear a name that they know or something to that effect. And our first breaks that we have in the class, which is usually after an hour of our introductions, the first thing that happens is people start networking and they start saying, oh, I used to work at this facility, or do you know this guy, or that lady works over here and now she's a lab tech over here. We hear all of these different conversations, and people just, it's like they reconnect, or they meet new people, and they job share, they talk about their careers and where they work, and who's hiring. And I think the biggest thing that people tell me right now is they miss the networking abilities. There's also an aspect of being able to get out of your workplace and go to a physical training room where you are, so to speak, isolated, and you're now there for training, rather than being, say, at your work desk and trying to take an online class, and then something happens and you're needed out in the treatment plant and you have to stop, and you miss something. So I think those two things right there are the biggest downside of what's happening now, is the networking and the ease of distractions to operators and the attendees of the Zoom classes and all that. It's just too easy to get up and walk away from the computer if you have to, and then you kind of lose the momentum of the class. So.
All right. Well, what would you say, Ron, that the future holds for water and wastewater training? What does it look like to you?
Okay, that's a good question. What does it look like to me? I see a lot of advancements in this industry with respect to treating water to higher levels to remove contaminants that we're seeing now, and able to measure now in water, in drinking water, potable water supplies. We're talking a lot about the PFOAs and PFAs now that are showing up in water, the Teflon-based types of contaminants. So there's so many different things that are coming out every day, new things in our new technology in our industry, that I see us becoming more and more very intimately connected to our industry of choice, and really pulling things out of the water and wastewater that we probably would never have thought of 20 or 30 years ago. And the ability to do that is just phenomenal. You think about the advancements of reverse osmosis treatment, granular activated carbon that's now being used, the different resins that are being used to remove contaminants that we probably never even thought twice about before. And that's in both water and wastewater. So where I think this is going is we're going to have more intimate technology and ability to really learn these things, and allow people to critically think through some of the problems that could occur with these very high-tech facilities that are computer operated and run by a lot of sensors, almost like our vehicles are now. We really can't troubleshoot points and condensers and distributor caps anymore on our cars. We need to have computers to be able to go in to figure out what sensor is gone bad, and that's what's happening, I think, in our industry. So we need the trainers of tomorrow to be able to speak that language and talk that talk and walk that walk, and be able to get that message across to their students who are going to be coming into their class saying, hey, I had this unit process and it stopped working, and why did it stop working, and why won't it do what it's supposed to do, and how do I get trained on this new electronic and computerized industry? So I think that's where it's going. I'm still kind of old school. I still like the hands-on training, but we're going to have to get a little bit more into computer software and a little bit more on testing circuits and PLCs and SCADA systems. I think is really where this is heading. Advanced level treatment. If the listeners wanted to, pick up some training on reverse osmosis through the different organizations that are out there that teach desalting methods and advanced oxidation and those types of techniques, I think is really where we're going with this industry, and it's needed. It's very much needed. But we still got to have people put the water through the pipes and be able to fix leaks and make sure the pressure is good at the houses, and treat the wastewater with bacteria that are still doing the same thing bacteria have done since we've started using them. So it's a pretty wide range, but it's definitely getting more intricate, that's for sure.
Okay, Ron, just as a conclusion, are any final thoughts you'd like to offer, maybe some words of inspiration to listeners and readers of TPO about why it's important for them to be trained and why they might want to be trainers?
Sure. One of the final thoughts I just wanted to share with everybody is that it does seem um, it does seem kind of scary to get up in front of an audience of people your first time, or even your 100th time, or even today when I teach a class, and I've been teaching for a while now. We all still get that little butterflies, the nerves, whatever you want to call it. I have anxiety every time I teach a class in the very first 5 to 10 minutes. I'm always worried about, does my hair look right? Am I dressed right? Am I going to say the right thing? And so what I want to share with the listeners is even though you think you might like to be a trainer, but then you talk yourself out of it because of the nerves that happen, that's common, and we all get that, and we all have a little bit of stage fright. But when you think about it, you're there to provide them some knowledge and share your knowledge, and even just allow them to share with each other the knowledge that they have and they bring into the classroom. And when you kind of let those barriers down, and you just let yourself relax a little bit, and you say, hey, they're here just like I was here 30 years ago, and I wanted to learn, and they want to learn, and we're all going to be just fine. And so the first 5 to 10 minutes are a little bit nerve-wracking, probably for everybody, even the students. But as a trainer, you just kind of push through it, and before you know it, the class is over, and you're like, wow, that was such an awesome class. Everybody was fun to be around. I learned from them as well as they learned from me, and now we can move on and hopefully help them out in the field, and I'll hopefully hear back from them and 20, 30 years from now, which I have. I have people that I've heard from since I've been training, and I have some some operators that I've just kind of stayed in touch with, and that's what we do. And it's a really rewarding part of being an operator. A lot of people think that operators just, do your 8 and hit the gate. A lot of people say they come into the plant, do their 8-hour shift and go home, but there's so much more to it. There's so many more avenues you can go, and there's so much you can do in this industry. And we really need people to get out there and be trainers, and come to TREEO Center, and we'll give you a little spot. You can get up in front of the audience and get your 5 minutes done, and teach a little segment for us and see how you like it, and take the train the trainer if it's offered in your area. Toastmasters is helpful. The Toastmaster organization that helps people do public speaking is very helpful. It does help you perfect your public speaking abilities. It's not really a training organization, it's more of a public speaking, so you may still want to pick up some training type of attributes there, but Toastmasters is another way to get out there and just have fun with it. It really is enjoyable, and I've just loved this part of my career over the last 20 years or so. I hope that the listeners are as excited about it as I am sometimes. I just really kind of gush about the classes that I do, and my wife gets tired of listening to me talk about how great of a time we had, and she's stuck at her job. So, but anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to share with everybody as we kind of wrap up.
Well, Ron, thanks a lot for your time and your insights. This concludes our podcast. We've been visiting with Ron Trygar, who's a certified environmental trainer at the University of Florida's TREEO Center. Thanks for joining us today.